Hello everyone, welcome to Ayumu's BS Seminar. I'm your host for today, Ayumu, and this time we're gonna finally look at the final games for the Milan Grand Tour. Sorry that it took so long, but editing as one person can be pretty tough, especially since I'm still new at these things. So the final games are between Alberto and Andrea, so let's just jump right into it, looking at the deck list first. So we got Alberto's list first, which is an interesting combination of WILLE and some of the Star Dragon cards, especially the Era Nova. And yes, it's pronounced as WILLE, not WILLE or Willy as most people like to pronounce it. I'm sure the EVA fans out there will appreciate me trying to correct it. But yeah, so anyway, I've also seen Alberto playing because I actually did watch the final games live as I was just sitting beside, and it has a very interesting playstyle, so to say. It definitely feels like a mid-range deck more than, I suppose you can call it, a control deck that like a pure era list might have. And then one of the interesting combinations that I've seen was definitely the cost 0 Rubius and then also the green cost 3 Ether 8 Gamma armament container, because if you go second, it is a very powerful setup. You know, you pay literally no cost to summon a spirit, and then you can pay 2, put 2 costs on Ether 8 Gamma, and then you can just start swinging and start gaining cores. Just some very quick setup that can be very scary if you're facing the deck. You also max out 4 copies of Ether 2 Beta Anchor Cables, which has the level 3 effect of target attacking refresh spirits. Anchor Cables might come in handy at sometimes, and I suppose that's why he put out 4 copies. It is also another VLAN card, so you know, it can get like the reductions from the VLAN necessis and you know, all the other things. And obviously being cost free, maximum 6k can be quite a sticky spirit, as I would like to call it. And you know, 6k can also get over quite a few things. It also means it forces your opponent to attack if the spirits don't want to get targeted, so you know, it creates less blockers for you as the VLAN user. So yeah, very good as a tempo tactic to kind of control the board. And then, well, we've got 2 copies of new EVA 02 Alpha and EVA 08 Gamma, which is usually the main finisher for the VLAN deck, but in here he only put 2 cost piece because I believe, you know, this card is probably not the main focus, especially when we look at him maxing out 4 copies of Era in the deck. Like, we all know where this is going. so yeah, it's not in its maximum potential as well, because obviously this list doesn't run the Asuka Nexus, so that means the new EVA 02 Alpha and EVA 08 Gamma wouldn't be able to get the last effect, which is when winning by comparing BP. If you have an Asuka Nexus, you can just refresh it. So like, he's just there with Mari, so that is another double symbol spirit, which obviously can still be pretty scary for this deck, especially since it's minimum 2 cost with no need to ascend as well. So it is just like one of the better double symbol spirits already. And then you got 4 copies of EVA 08 Gamma extra fall in 1 state. Personally, I don't like playing 4 copies. I just feel that cost 7, like, even though it has 5 reductions, you don't often get that. So let's say, I don't know, most of the time you're gonna summon it at 3 costs and you still need to put 1 core on it. So it's a lot of cost to save in the reserve. So I'm not too sure about 4 copies in there, and I don't really remember seeing it being played that much during the games as well. So I'm not sure about that, but it is a very strong switch spirit that is pretty good against Hydra, especially because the summon effect can exhaust an opposing spirit. So you know, if Hydra is attacking with raid, then you can summon the EVA 8 Gamma to exhaust it. And then if you also have enough cores, which doesn't happen very often because, you know, it's level 3, it need 5 cores, so that's like minimum 2 cores with 5 cores, 7 cores, a lot. But if you manage to pull it off, it can actually win against Hydra as well. Because most of the time, when people attack with Hydra, they kind of stretch out the ball a little bit. So it's usually they only keep Hydra level 2, which is like just 10k BP, but if I load like Gamma, it's maximum 11k BP. So you can use it to win against Hydra in some cases, not very often, but it works. I've done it once, and it felt great. And then 1 copy of Nova for the heal. In this deck, you probably don't want to play Nova that often, especially since all the WILLE cards have 80 field, so you don't actually want to banish the Soul Core. Like, when you do that, you just give your opponents a very huge advantage as well, even if you manage to heal the life. Because I did face like some WILLE and Nova list in my Switch games. Actually, I faced one in the first round, and like you don't know how relief I felt when they banished the Soul Core, because I was like, okay, now my nemesis is rocking at level 2 now, and you can't stop me. So I can understand why he only puts 1 Nova, and like the deck speed in general is pretty quick as well. So I presume that usually you can end the game without the need to heal the life back. So Nova 1 copy, it's just for the insurance, and like it's not actually needed in there, I would say. I mean, you could summon it for the 10k board wipe, which helps sometimes, but then Alberto is playing 4 era, so I don't think that like the level 2 attack effect is needed that often as well. But yes, overall I think it is a very new idea, but I think Alberto does seem to be playing quite conservatively, if I would say, because again, 4 copies of Era is a lot. Like, I don't even think, because I think some of the pure Era lists also only play 3 Era. Like 4 Era, like obviously some people still do that, but I think it actually makes the deck less consistent. Well, because it kind of breaks sometimes when you just suddenly draw all the Eras into hand. Especially with this deck, you know, you don't play Canyon, you play the WILLE, which obviously the level 2 effect is still a Canyon effect, but you need 2 costs on it. So arguably the filter is also harder to be done. So 4 Era is definitely a play there. And again, as I mentioned before, 4 copies of Evo 8 Gamma, extra 4 in 1 state as well. I mean, it can be an ascent target for Era, but as I said, I feel that sometimes, well, most of the times, it's just a bit too high cost to be at 4 copies, I would say. And then all like the magic cards, kind of generic, you know, Ice Shield, Star Blast Draw, Throne Prisoner 4. Again, don't know if I agree with that, but hey, this guy won the tournament. 3 copies of Asian Draw and then 1 copy of Dream Bomb. Like, personally, I would have gone for 3 Throne Prison and 2 Dream Bomb, but I suppose the 4 Throne Prison there is to make sure that your kind of aggro tactic is going through, because most of the time what stops you from the aggressive plays is because your opponent has a very big blocker. So I suppose 4 copies of Throne Prison does make sense here. And then we're gonna skip the side deck and move on to Andrea's list, which is the blue right Hydra Tiger hybrid deck. Now, I've talked about this deck in my last video because the top 4 game, Andrea was one of the players as well. So if you want to listen to what I have to say with the list, I guess you can go back to that video. But thank you to Andrea, because he actually did comment on my video for the top 4 games and allow me to kind of recite what he said, because I think it can really help with the insight on how this deck works. So he said the idea behind the list was to have a deck with the possibilities to win through life and mill, but with all the defensive costs that white has. Specifically, the game plan in era matchups was built around stall to deny as much as possible the strength of big man energy, and then win by mill with Hydra / Eva. Well, he said Eva 0, but he means the 10th Angel, and multiple Sophocla, the Frog, at the same time in the late game. And, you know, like, it is a very consistent idea, because again, if you watched the top 4 game already, then like, this was the exact tactic that he was going for. And I think it was actually a very effective tactic as well, because during the top 4 games, he was against Panos, and Panos was using an Hydra deck. And then there were quite a few turns that Panos seemed to be not able to do anything. And if I remember correctly, because my memory is really bad, Panos only managed to use Big Bang Energy once in both games, I believe, because, you know, his life had been staying at 5. So, or like, you know, even 4, which is still a very high life count. So Big Bang Energy is kind of useless most of the time. And then I suppose there were in some turns where Panos' hand was stuck with all the combo cards, so he couldn't do much in the turn. It's like, you know, summon like a Dino Man and then pass and etc, things like that. So it is a very effective strategy. And then so yeah, we will see if Andrea managed to pull out the strategy again, because I do like seeing that. I think it's a very unique idea for this game as of this moment. I mean, to be fair, white mandala was a thing, but you know, it didn't really manage to do too well, because when the deck faces another white control white mandala deck, but she dies to it. So, you know, we got another idea here, which is also using white and blue. It has the mill, but it also has the aggression if it needs to take the life as well. So I think it's a pretty decent list. Some people might say a break, and I've seen some people breaking with it, because I also face another white-blue deck during my Swiss rounds. But I suppose if you manage to get it through, then, yeah, I mean, if you manage to get it working, then it can be a very dangerous deck to face. And Andrea probably has also, you know, thought about the breaking part, so which is why a lot of his low-cost cards right here usually manage to block multiple times, or, you know, manage to refresh other spirits, and then just have like a decent enough BP that, you know, you can kind of use suppression to get through the early turns as well. And again, we'll just skip the side decks, and then let's move on to the gameplay itself. So on the left side we have Alberto, on the right side with Andrea. So Alberto is going first, and he summoned the Ether 8 Gamma and just passed the turn. Right now the video is at 1x speed. I would have put it 2x, but I tried to put it 2x, and then wow, these two players are moving so quickly I couldn't even manage to say anything. But okay, so Andrea summoned the Snapper and then just pass. So he wanted to leave the Snapper as a blocker, and it means it also forces Alberto to level up his spirits if he wanna start swinging. But yeah, Alberto got the Rubius, so now he can start core boosting with the Ether 8, attacking 4,000, Snapper's only 3,000, so Andrea should take the life there, and now Rubius has to be standing there because Rubius only has 2,000. So back to Andrea's turn. Let's see if there's anything he can do. No. Okay, just call up the Snapper and then start, and then just swings. Andrea is going aggressive here, which is different to his top 4 games. I would guess that partly is because Alberto is also going really aggressive here, much more aggressive than Panos. So Andrea knows that probably like he would not last longer than his games against Panos. And obviously because Alberto is also playing green, you know, he has a lot more kind of exhausting effects, especially with the 4 from Prison in the main deck. And then also Alberto isn't playing a Canyon, so he's running through his deck slower than the normal Evo players. But Alberto decided to pay 5 to summon Grey, and then just start swinging it so Snapper can't refresh. And then Andrea does have the Flush Stream, so the other 2 spirits get removed. But Alberto gets to draw 1 from the Rubius. But it's kind of a bad stage for Alberto as well, because, you know, he only has 1 spirit with 1 symbol on the field. So, okay, Andrea summons a Sepulchra. Looks like it's not exactly a good hand. Attack with Snapper. Interesting. And then just pass. Yeah, so attacking with Snapper also has a good thing that it's kind of anti-aggro, because obviously at level 1 it can refresh if the opposing I believe it's by cost for less spirit attacks. So he's not afraid of any aggro, but Alberto just decided to pay 8 and then summon Hydra, so removing all his blockers. Andrea does have 5 cores, so that might be a Dream Bomb. But it's probably, yeah, let's see if Alberto swings here. I did say I watched the games live, but I almost forgot about everything already. So, I don't know. Okay, so Alberto does decide to swing with Hydra. If Andrea doesn't have anything, he's in big trouble with only 1 life left. Well, let's see what he can do, but he does have an empty board. So that, based on how he played in the top 4 games, I think he probably would just summon a Norman God here and then pass the turn, because he needs the cores to refresh. Well, yeah, he needs to refresh his cores so they get the Dream Bomb and everything else, and obviously he needs to start building up his board. But obviously there's nothing much to build up when you have Hydra on the board. Like Alberto can just swing at level 3, and then unless Andrea has some response in hand, his Norman God is going away. Yeah, so Andrea is thinking really hard here. This is the moments when I will put the video 2 times speed, but it is pretty annoying for me to just try to change the speed all the time, like when I'm editing. So yeah, I guess you just have to listen to me blabbering a little bit more. Yep, so Andrea counts 8 cores, so I think he might just gonna summon a Norman God here at level 2. Yeah, really tough for Andrea. I mean, I would think pretty long as well. Cause another risk is that if Alberto has another Hydra, then Andrea literally won't have any blockers as well. Okay, so that's Norman God. To be fair, I would have played with the Soul Core, because then if you use suppression, you won't level down the Norman God. Because Alberto only has 2 cores to use. So unless it's playing Blizzards of War, which we know he doesn't because it's open that list, and Norman God isn't going to get mounts. So it would have been better if Andrea played with the Soul Core and then put the Soul Core back to the reserve, so that when he used suppression, at least Norman God would be at 13k, which definitely can help in some cases. But I suppose if Alberto decided to just swing with Hydra here first at level 3, then it wouldn't matter because Hydra is at 23k. But Alberto might decide to low swing like what Panos did, just to avoid Andrea from gaining value from the Norman God. So Alberto paid 2 to summon another cost 3 of the EVA 08 Gamma. What's it called? Armament Container? I think that's the name. It's so hard to remember all the EVA names. It's like, when you try to say an EVA card and the others, so which one? It's like, you can't really say. You can't really say it. Okay, so Alberto decided to level down Hydra actually. I mean, it can be for Swift Spirits as well. Cause you want to leave the cost in there for the Swifts. 4+1, yeah, I think he definitely had an EVA 8 in hand, if that's the case. Like the cost 7 one, the X-Rare one. Gosh, so annoying to clarify it. Okay, but no, he decided to put Hydra back to level 3. And then he just swings Hydra. So he's really not afraid of giving value to Andrea. He just decided, nah, I'm just gonna fully pressure you, keep your board empty, I don't care what you draw and how many calls you gain. But obviously, no, he actually has a 4%, so ignore what I just said. Okay, yeah, so Andrea does have the suppression. Obviously, again, doesn't matter here because Hydra is 23k, but it would have been better if Andrea did pay with the Soul Core. But okay, yeah, he gained 3 calls, get 3 cards. Will he manage to draw any outs from it? No, he just took the life. Oh wow, okay. So, right, let me just start maybe speeding up this video here. Or maybe not, because Alberto always starts shuffling, so he's not even going to side anything. But we can think about what Andrea might want to side in, because like he might side in the same things against Panos as well. So if I remember correctly, against Panos, he actually no, I wouldn't know, because like a lot of the cards in the sideboard are just like extra copies. Alright, no, he did put the Callista in there, so that might be an option. And then extra copy of actually no, suppression might not be too useful. Actually no, it would be pretty useful, because like in the early games, since Alberto does attack quite frequently, so maybe an extra copy of suppression, and then an extra copy of inescapable avalanche as well. And I think in here, unfortunately, even though it's my favorite card in the deck, I think Andrea might side out the 10th Angel, because if you're not going for the Mule tactic, then 10th Angel can be pretty hard to use here. It's not unusable, it's still a double symbol spirits, which is minimum 9,000, so literally Alberto will have no ways to remove it except for the Novas, but obviously Andrea can just level up the 10th Angel to level 2, which becomes 11k, which means literally nothing in Alberto's list will be able to remove it. So he might still keep it in there, because it is the double symbol block, well, attacker and blocker, and it does mills and destroys, etc. So he might still keep that one in, but then I'm not sure what kind of cards Andrea will remove to, you know, to face against the era. To be fair, it might be a stretch, but I don't think Frost Tiger is too useful here. Actually no, the 5k less summon or block effect would be pretty useful. Yeah, I literally don't know what Andrea would remove. And maybe Andrea, if you're watching this video, maybe you can comment what you side in the next few games, or next one games. I can't remember how many games you guys played at this moment. Well, yeah, Andrea does have a few choices to side in, but I don't know. I'm not the player. I can't really say everything. Okay, so they're almost done shuffling, so I think this can be a good time for me to speed up, looking at the rest of the video, which is quite a lot. So let's do that. 2 times speed. Let's go. Who's going first? Okay, Andrea's going first this time. Oh, he got the Cappy ball out. Nice. I mean, that's a start. You got something to play. I think most of the time that's appreciated by white players. Oh, but wow. And so Alberto does get the combo that I was talking about. Just playing Rubius first, and then you got the Evil 8 out and start attacking and ramping. That's the Ficken, not Ficky. I keep calling it Ficky in the last video. But yeah, you got the Fickens and then the Cappy ball, and then swimming with both. I think he probably has suppression in hand, so that he can block with, well, I don't know. Let's see what Alberto swings with first. But like suppression on both is like kind of the same options here, really. Yeah. So Andreas is also really dedicated to try to end the games quickly here. I mean, especially since he got 1 loss already. So it's not really an option for him to stall as well, because you know they'll be losing time, and then you might risk going time out, etc. So it's probably better for him to just be aggressive here. I mean, because like also with like one tactic against tempo / aggressive decks is that you also raise them down to low lives, so that they're forced to keep the spirit standing as blockers instead of attacking them by themselves as well. So that's one option if you manage to get your spirits out quickly. And Andrea's deck does have suppression and all the bounce magic as well, so he can put the defense up pretty well. But no, he just decided to take a life here. So does he not have a suppression in here? Or is he actually just risking Alberto to not spam anything? Wow, okay. I mean, I suppose like Alberto might also have a Throne Prison in hand as well, so it kind of like doesn't. I mean, you can argue that like you might not want to give the cost to Alberto by attacking, but also if eventually you're forced to attack anyway, then you might as well do it now. And instead of just like wasting a turn to not attack and then just get tapped down by Throne Prison and everything like that. Where at the very least, Andrea does also have the cost to use now. Oh, he decided to just call up. Okay. Oh, is it going for Frost Tiger? Yes, nice. Oh, and then okay. To be fair, yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, there were two choices for Andrea to do there. Either way, I don't think it's wrong. But like, he could have attacked and tried to go for the game, but Alberto might have some options in hand. You know, from prison and everything like that. So, and then because Andrea only has 2 cores to use, he can't even use suppression here. So if he tries to attack, then he might leave himself wide open for Hydra to just come down and finish the game. So like, obviously, so the other option is what Andrea chose, which is to just keep standing there. Okay, yeah. So Alberto does have to either 8 Gamma, 4 in 1 arms, summon effect, tap down the Frost Tiger, and the Dust Swinging. Is that yes, that's a suppression. Okay, yep. And then when Frost Tiger blocks, yep, both spirits to the bottom. So like, what is it? Alberto can't even get the draws from the Rubias because it's not destroyed. And I suppose with this deck, you can't I mean, it's a red deck, so there's still a possibility to draw to the bottom, but most of the time, you don't really do that, especially in such a quick game. So, returning to the bottom is basically the same as just having the spirits gone forever for the rest of the game. So, return to bottom is a pretty kind of dangerous and threatening threat against, which is why you don't get lots of such options in white at the moment, because, you know, absolute removal plus all the defense for white is pretty dangerous. Yeah, so Alberto does have the Throne Prison in hand, so it was the correct option for Andrea to not attack last turn, but he did put Alberto down to 1 life. So now Alberto needs to try to maybe get a Nova out. But I don't think he's trying to do that. No, it's not. Does he have another Throne Prison in hand? Maybe. And then this time, like during the last game, I commented that like Andrea should have paid the Soul Core, but this time I think it's fine to not use the Soul Core because Andrea does have the symbols to use the suppression. So like, with the cost and symbols to use the suppression, so that even if Norman Guard's level down, it doesn't really matter. Okay, but yeah, so he did use the suppression on the Tiger, return the cost 3 to the bottom, and then, oh, that was game 2. Yes, so what happened was that I put it 2 times speed. Things starting to get too quick already. Right, so because Andrea used the suppression on the Tiger, which makes it at 11k. What is it? Alberto's new Hydra 2 and Hydra 8 would be attacking at 11k as well. So at most it will be a trade between the 2 spirits. But then Andrea used the strong draw to put Tiger at 14k instead. So you know, so Alberto couldn't get it through, couldn't get the spirit through, and then with his board empty and probably no way out in the hand as well, he just skipped the game, because Andrea can just swing the next turn and just end the game. So we're going to game 3. Both players decided not to side in anything, I believe. Right, so this time Alberto's going first again. Got the Hydra 8 out and passed the turn. That's a snapper. So literally the exact same starts as game 1, but this time Andrea decided to swing. Interesting. Another Gamma 8. Set down a burst. So swing with one of Gamma 8. Yeah. Snapper refreshes, but Andrea decided to take the life because Snapper doesn't have enough BP. And he'll swing with both, and then Alberto just swing with both Eva 8 and put Andrea down to 3 lives already. Ooh, okay, Andrea did play the Turbo Rex. Interesting. Very good anti-aggro tactic in some cases, so makes sense. But like the Storm Draw did drop Dream Bomb and a Turbo Rex. Dropping a Dream Bomb means he probably has other options in hand already. Okay, so Alberto played the Relay, and then played the Star Blast Draw, the World Champion version. Ooh, flexing right there. Got the Mari out to get a call boost on one of the Eva cards. And then he just passed because Snapper's too high BP for both the Eva 8. And then, wow, Andrea just does nothing and then swing with Snapper. Probably has too many magic in hand, I would say, or else it wouldn't drop a Dream Bomb there. Another Relay. So Alberto slowly setting up. But they're not exactly the most helpful cards. Because Relay, most of the time you'll just need one copy and that's enough reductions. Oh, okay, okay. So he decided to try to filter more by leveling up both Relay at level 2. And then block with Rubius to get another draw. And just do not playing anything. What's in his hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he could have summoned a Norman Guard as well, but he didn't. So what is in his hand? Okay, Asian draw, nothing. Nothing to add with the refill 3. Yeah, and the non-Nessus as well. I mean for Andrea, like not even playing in Nessus. I wonder what's in his hand. Very intriguing. Oh, that's a swing here, got the Throne Prison out. So Alberto decided to be more aggressive instead of giving more times for Andrea to set up, but Andrea does have the inescapable Avalanche to get the Eva 8 and saving 1 life, and that also means saving the Ice Shield most likely in his burst area, because you know you want to keep yourself with 3 lives since you know your opponent is playing Era. So he's swinging. So Andrea's swinging with Snapper again. Alberto decided to block with the Rubius to get more draws. Play the Ice Shield from hand. And then Andrea just pass. Right, so Alberto's turn, draw 2, drop 1. Drop the Eva 02 that can target attack. Yep. Summon cost 7 Eva 8 at full reduction, so only 2 cost. Tap down the Ficken as well. So on swing, 11k. Oh, this time he decided not to level up the Relay, so I think Alberto has a more swift cast in hand. That's probably the play he's going for right here now. Okay, so I think most likely Alberto does have the swift cast in hand, but he did anticipated the burst to be Ice Shield, so if Andrea wasn't doing anything, there's no need for him to summon any more spirits out because Andrea will most likely use the Ice Shield there. And then the calls are also for if Andrea does decide to return the Eva 8 to hand, it means that he has the calls in the reserve to summon Eva 8 back out again and just do another swing. So yeah, so leaving the calls in the reserve was a nice play there. Andrea's going aggressive with the Norman Guard, and it puts the Shaker Knight Seal out from Alberto. So I think Andrea is in a little bit of a lead here. There's the Rubius. Yeah, so it's very crucial for Alberto to get an Era out right here. And maybe not even an Era, sometimes maybe a Nova would do enough as well. But an Era would definitely be better here. Just to try to force... Okay, well... speak of the devil. So that was 4 + 1. So Alberto decided to destroy his own Rubius and destroy 3 more spirits on Andrea's side. and then one more draw from Rubius on Destroy Effect, so that was 5 cards in total. Okay, there's 3 spirits in play. WILLE, Andrea has enough responses. Because there's 2 double symbol spirits right there. And technically Andrea does have the cost to use things. Well, Inescapable, probably like, I think he got exactly 9 costs. So 1 Inescapable Avalanche and then 1 Dream Bomb. Oh no, he just decided to take 2. Okay, decided to bounce the cost 3 instead because he doesn't want the era to wipe the board again by bouncing it to hand. And then it's probably a good chance for Andrea to maybe summon a Hydra or 10th Angel out, swing and force him to destroy the era as well. So there are some options here. But it depends on what's in Andrea's hand. Oh no, wait, era's a 5k as well, so Frost Tiger can also return it to that bottom. Okay, no, but he just decide to summon a Norman Guard and a Snapper, and then play the Strong Draw. I think he should have played the Strong Draw there first, just to see what other options he has. Just reading the Mari, because the level 2 effect can combo quite well with the Eva 8 as well, and then he asked to read the new Eva 2 from Alberto's hand. It's not, just so you know guys, it's not illegal. You can do that if you know the card was in, like if you knew about the card already. Like my opponents also this something similar to me with Nemesis, and he was asking me about the effects, and I'm just like, okay fine, here's the card, just read it. And then Josh just commented, wow. Yeah, she just let him read it. So well, he knows the card already, might as well. Okay, but Alberto just play the Nova and return to 5 lives. He might have thrown more copy of Nova in there, but if not, getting that 1 copy out from the main deck is a bit lucky of him, looking at his deck size. Wow, yeah, he just decided to spam the spirits here. And then if he swings Nova and destroy Norman Guard, unless Andrea has a nice shield, as a suppression wouldn't help here. Oh no, he decided to destroy the Snapper. Interesting choice. Ooh. Right, okay, so Alberto deciding the lightning arrows from his side deck. Wow, that was such a great play. And then looking at Andrea's hand, 2 suppression and 1 dream bomb. But yeah, so this is the end of the recording. Congratulations to Alberto for taking the champion place in the Milan Grand Tour, and obviously well done to Andrea for reaching the finals as well. Both players has used some very interesting decks that have never been seen before this tournament, and I had my fun commentating on this round. I hope that those of you who are watching this video right now have also enjoyed the video and my commentary. I hope that it has helped even in the slightest. So this is the end of this video. This is Ayumu, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!